Milwaukee County does not want to send juveniles hundreds of miles away. It wants an alternative location right here in the county.
So to continue that conversation, we have Milwaukee County Executive Chris Abele. Also joining with us, Mark Mertens, who oversees the county's delinquency and court services. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us this morning. Let's get right into it. What is the model you want to see here in the county?
Well, you've heard a lot of talk about the Missouri model, which one would have smaller facilities, two, they're much more proximate to the families that serve and the operations departments that work with them. We have talked about essentially a Milwaukee model, meaning we want to take the good ideas of the Missouri model and see what we can do to improve it. But you know, the lead point here is where we are right now is not acceptable. These large-scale facilities just do not get built anymore, and with good reason. And you know, with the recent ACLU lawsuit, there's just that much more pressure to do better.
Mark, describe the need. What are we talking about? What kind of, how big is the problem here, number-wise? So, how many youth are you talking about?
So right now we have about 74 youth under our supervision that are in Lincoln Hills or Copper Lake School. That number is down significantly, down in fact about 57% since 2011. So
what is your success rate when you have them versus what you're seeing up in Lincoln Hills and Copper?
Recidivism.
Yeah, we see roughly about a 30% recidivism rate of youth that are on supervision, meaning, and recidivism is measured in many different ways throughout our system. There is no sort of apples to apples comparison often. So we're talking about youth that may commit or be charged with a new delinquent act after they've been placed on supervision. It may not be the same level of severity as previously. And when the state is measuring recidivism, they're talking about youth that return to either a juvenile or an adult correctional institution. So you can see there's quite a difference in how the bar is measured between Milwaukee County and the state.
But let me ask you, where are we at now, and how can we move this ball forward to get your idea of the Milwaukee model here in the county? Like,
so what makes this complicated is you've got a couple different levels of government here. A lot of people have been reading about Lincoln Hills, and as Mark reminded us, the state operates Lincoln Hills. That's a state-run facility. The county pays the state per day.
$300, right?
Right, exactly.
wow, that much.
Per day. And obviously,
Per student or per youth?
Per youth per day, yeah. And we obviously aren't, you know, to say that we're unhappy with the results is a huge understatement. I mean, what's happened is just indefensible.
But can you put your foot down and say, no more, we're going to take them out?
So that's what's been interesting. It turns out that doing a sort of reform when we're not the only decision maker in the process, it gets more complicated. When you add to that the fact that there's multiple investigations still going on, you know, it makes it a little trickier. We've had good conversations and continue to with the governor's office, with the Department of Children and Families and different state agencies, and they understand the need that we have to do better. It's just about how do we make that happen and how soon can we do it.
Is the bigger hurdle for you the state or the county board?
On this, it's the timeline of the state. You know, the state has indicated a willingness, and they've been good working with us. They understand the need for reform. We have suggested, hey, work with us on a local facility that would be closer to a Missouri model. I think what they're interested in doing is, look, if we're going to reform, let's do the whole state, which, you know, I mean, I think is the right thing to do. I'm hoping that that doesn't add to the timeline.
This year, do you think you'll have an answer that will put a permanent plan in motion?
I hope so.
It remains to be seen, but that's our hope.
That's your hope. All right, we thank you both for coming in and providing some insight on this important topic. Coming up, a new restaurant near downtown Milwaukee that hopes to serve more than just good food.